Hey, this is Wyatt with WJC Pottery. Thanks a lot for getting the chow on. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to whisk your tea in it, as well as some care and tips. But first off, I just wanted to tell you the reason for this shape. You'll see I have this so you can whisk it easily. You can hold it in your hand more easily. It's also designed so that when you're sipping from it, it's not so much like a bowl. It feels more like a cross between a bowl and a cup. And I designed it that way on purpose because I found with other chow ones that I was using, some of them were too small, but others were big and kind of bulky, didn't feel right sipping out of them. So that's why I designed this one the way I did. After spending about 2.5 years living in Japan, I came to love green tea. I came back to the States. I wanted to have a chow one of my own, and I went through a little bit of a design process as I figured out what I would want out of it. I mean, there are some aesthetic things that make a chow one, but I also wanted to make it so that it was functional. I made it so that it was a little more like you could hand it in your hand while also sipping it without being too awkward. So anyway, here are the instructions and tips on using your chow one. Okay, so first off, for doing our matcha, we're gonna go ahead and, it's just gonna depend on your matcha. I've got this, I'm not necessarily saying I recommend it, but this one calls for, this powdered matcha calls for about half a teaspoon. I'm gonna go ahead and measure out half a teaspoon into my cup. Now half a teaspoon doesn't seem like a lot, but it's actually pretty powerful stuff. So the next thing, it calls for 8 to 12 ounces of water. So hot water, so I've gone ahead and boiled my water in advance, and I like to go ahead and kind of whisk it as I go. Now the thing with whisking, there are a lot of different techniques with whisking, and you can really get into the techniques. It just depends on how much you want to really get into the whole process. When I was in Japan, I got to be part of a tea ceremony, and it was really cool. They served it out. It was very proper. Everything that they did had a purpose, and so it was very deliberate. And that's one of the things I like about green tea is it does have that deliberateness. Now, whether you fall into that practice, you can look up on that. This is just a very basic tea making process. This doesn't get into the tradition of green tea. It doesn't get into the real proper techniques. There's a real history behind it, and it's quite interesting. But for this video anyway, we're just gonna be whisking it, and that's what we're doing. So we got it whisked. It's powdered form, so it doesn't take much to whisk it. Some will actually foam up a lot more. I might have added a little more water, but that's okay. Anyway, so that's it. You're ready to drink it, right? Well, not quite, because if you're like me, I like to add a little something else to my tea. Now, I sometimes will use stevia. I like using stevia in my tea. Don't necessarily recommend this brand. You can get it at the co-op and natural food store. That's a little, it's not bleached and just tastes better. I'll also put it in a bit of almond milk. Okay, I find that gives it a little bit of flavor. Now again, some people are like, what? But I find it tastes pretty good. So I'll put those kind of things in. But basically, you're done. You can go ahead and sip your tea. You can add a little bit of almond milk to it that makes it tasty. You can even add the little bit of stevia that I mentioned. And don't add too much. This stuff is pretty powerful. I know it doesn't look like a lot of stevia, but it actually, you have to get used to it. And there's different brands of stevia, so they each have their own strength. This one, again, is kind of, it's okay. Okay, so you've got your matcha tea. Now, let me give you a few tips. If you find that your water is too hot and you have, it's too hot for you to lift, you can try carrying it like this. Now, I find if the water is too hot for you, then your tea is probably too hot. Ceramics do get hot, so it's something to note. Also, with the chow one itself, you're gonna wanna wash these by hand. Again, these are technically can be put in the dishwasher, but the luster lasts longer and everything just lasts longer with pottery if you hand wash it. This is also true for the microwave. You can throw this in the microwave, but again, it's a conductor of heat, so I shy against it, both for retaining the luster, but also and the length of the pottery, but also just because it just heats up so fast. So You know, don't be afraid to throw it in for maybe 5 seconds, 10 seconds. But if you're really going for that 1 or 2 minute, that's not something I would do. Wow, that's pretty good. Dang, I might have to have 2 of those. Okay, so that's about it. I really appreciate you getting a chawan from WJC Pottery. If you haven't and you're looking in these instructions right now, wondering about green tea, go ahead and check out WJCpottery.com. Right now, we've got chawans available in different colors. Thanks a lot for watching, and enjoy your green tea.